All right, so the next operators we're going to go over are the increment and decrement operators. This is pretty much a shorthand way of increasing a variable value by 1 or decreasing a variable value by 1. So the first one we're going to go over is increment. And first, before we do that, let's create a variable. And it's going to be called I. And you guys are going to see I a lot once you start going into loops later on. But we're going to call I. We're going to make I hold an int value, and the initial value is going to be 0. So to increment, or to use an increment operator for this variable, we literally just take the name of the variable and then we add plus plus. This is shorthand for I is equal to I plus 1. Or as we learned before, it is the same as pretty much I plus equal 1. Because I plus equal 1 is same thing as I equal I plus 1. But I plus plus just literally just adds 1. And if we print that, we should see that I is not equal to 1. We started with 0. We use I plus plus to increment by 1. And it did that. And it's a very shorthand way of doing it. And as you guys get into loops, this will be very useful. The next one we're going to go over is decrement, which pretty much is the inverse of increment. It decreases the variable value by 1. So just as we use plus to add, we use minus to subtract. So we just put 2 minus signs for decrement. This is equivalent to I equal I minus 1, which is the current value of I minus 1. Or, as we learned before, I minus equal 1, which is also equivalent to I equal I minus 1. So this will decrement or decrease the value or subtract 1 by the value that I is holding. And if we print that out, print out I, we should get the original value, which is 0. So this is a very shorthand way of doing it, and an even shorter way of doing it, because it's shorter than this by I think 1 character, or one character for sure. So if you guys know that you want to decrease it by 1 for sure, or increase it by 1 for sure, this is the perfect operator to use for that. And I am pretty sure you guys will use it later on when you guys learn loops.